Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It's day 10. How did I sleep last night? Not very good. These dogs farted all night long, and that's what I had to contend with. It was ridiculous. No scratching. Quit. Quit scratching. It was ridiculous. I had to open the tin up and everything else. I was like frustrated. And then finally they stopped and I was able to get some sleep. Now, Ranger lost a tooth last night. I found this in the floor of the tent, roots and all. It's crazy. I don't know how that happened with him, but he lost a tooth. You guys might be wondering about my bee sting. How's that? What bee sting? I put a little bit of little yarrow on it, and it's just a little bit of redness. It didn't swell up or anything like that. I got to it as soon as I found out where the location was. I put some yarrow on it, and no problem. It itches more than anything right now. It doesn't hurt, so no problems there. The bee sting's good. I have plenty of food left. I'll go through this with you. I've got 2 things of oatmeal that I'm going to eat here in a minute. Now, talking about my 1 pound of rice, my brown rice, look at that. I would say more than half of that left. So I have plenty of brown rice left. If you look at my beans, 2 pounds of beans, I've got about almost half of that left. That was crazy. Blueberry muffin mix. I still have enough in here. I don't know. It's kind of heavy. I could probably make maybe 4 to 6 more blueberry muffins, good sized ones. So that's cool. Cornbread's gone. Cornbread mix is gone. I still have a can of tuna that I never even touched. 1 whole container of mac and cheese, complete. Haven't even opened that yet. And 2 things of ramen left. That's the food that I have left. Apple juice, I drank that little bit that was left, and I still have, this is a 16-ounce bottle, so probably 14 ounces left. So that's kind of cool. You know, I still have some food. This challenge has been a lot of fun. I'm really curious what my weight is going to be. So I'm going on with my normal procedure. I'm going to eat my oatmeal. I'm going to drink some water, get hydrated, and then I'll weigh out. And then after I weigh out, I got a lot of things that I want to talk about. I wrote down some notes. During this whole 10-day journey, I was thinking the whole time about things that you guys might want to hear, you know, questions that you might have. And so I wrote some notes down that I'll be looking at after I do my weigh out. And then at the very end, I'll tell you what my weigh out weight is, and then I'll give you some final thoughts on that. But for now, I'm heating up water as usual, and it's going to be oatmeal time soon. I'm excited to go home, but yet on the same part, I wish I could stay another 10, 20 days. You know, I'm loving it. Just loving it. Except for these guys farting all night long. That was ridiculous. Another thing, this is kind of funny. This is kind of weird, actually. So I got my apple juice container, got my Gatorade bottle, and I have my Powerade bottle, and I was messing around with these this morning, and I learned something interesting. All of these lids fit the other bottle. So like my Gatorade lid fits on the apple juice bottle. The apple juice lid fits on the Gatorade bottle. Look, no leaks. And the Powerade lid does the same. All three of these lids are interchangeable. Blows me away. There's the apple juice on the Powerade bottle. No leaks. I thought that was nuts. Why I tried that, who knows. It was something I tried. This is Powerade lid on a Gatorade bottle. Crazy. No leaks. That just blows me away. So it's kind of cool to know that your bottles are interchangeable as far as lids are concerned. Here's the apple juice on the Powerade again. I don't know if I showed that yet. I might have already showed that, but anywho, I thought that was kind of an interesting little thing. Just something cool. Thought I'd run that by you. But yes, oatmeal is going to be next on the agenda. That water is at a rolling boil. I know you've seen me do this plenty of times, but this is the last time you're going to see me make oatmeal, so maybe you'll enjoy it. So I got my pillow here kind of as a heat absorber thing. This works pretty good, especially when I have hot food or hot liquid. So I'm gonna make that oatmeal for the last time out here. It's crazy that this journey is coming to an end. So crazy. I got some hot water that I'm gonna leave in the pot, and I'm gonna put my rag in there, turn that off, and just have some water to wash up with. Crazy. This journey is over. I'll be going home today. I'm happy about that. I miss everybody, but at the same time, I'm really gonna miss being out here. So nice. It's so quiet. You're not getting oatmeal, if that's what you're thinking. So quiet out here. Such a cool experience this thing has been. So right now, it's all about eating that final meal. Oatmeal out here. Getting nice and hydrated. Got that apple juice. I'm going to enjoy that. Not trying to bore you guys through, me eating oatmeal once again, but this is the last time that you're going to probably have to watch me do it on this video series. Did I tell you how delicious this is? Or my apple juice, how good that tastes? The apple juice doesn't taste as fantastic because I've been drinking it the last couple days, but when I went without and then I have it, it's like a spike of flavor and everything else. Right now it just tastes like apple juice. I feel like I'm being sloppy. Now let's get on to some hydration with water. You guys might be thinking that I'm trying to put weight on for the way out. No, this is my normal morning routine. To be honest, I'll probably drink about half of this, and then I'll make my weight. Okay, just so you guys know, this last fuel canister, I would say, is about half full, just by the weight of it and the amount of sloshing around that I can hear. It's about half full. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's start notch number 10. I want to make sure it's clean. Yeah, there we go. Days. How's that look? I chose this as a walking stick because it has kind of a bend right here on the end. And my hand fits right there on that bend. I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, it's the moment of truth. Let's find out. Make your predictions now. Wow. Wow. Let's try it again. Wow. Is it good? Is it bad? What do you think? Dang. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Ooh, if I could stay balanced. Ah, that is crazy. Well, we're here. We're at the end. This is the point where I'm going to take my notes and I'm going to reflect on everything that's happened in this last 10 days. This is the section of the video where it's my objective to answer any questions that you guys might have. So I thought real hard and wrote down a lot of stuff to talk about. And it's not in any specific order or anything like that. Now, as you guys know, there's been two locations, the one on the Verde River and the one here that you see right now. And a question might be, what of the two locations was your favorite? The first location was really cool because I had an abundant amount of water. I mean, endless supply of water. So for that, I loved it. But I really prefer this location better. It's a lot cooler here. I just love hearing the elk bugling at night. So definitely I like this second location better. And when it comes to location, I didn't plan to have this 10-day challenge split up on two different locations. I actually planned for it to be in one spot the whole time. It just kind of got mixed up there on day 5 and I had to adapt. So this is why we have two locations for this video series. The next one is sponge bath, sponge bathing. I showed that and I think it's effective. It works good. I use that technique all the time. It's awesome. I got it written down here: dogs and neighbors at the first location, and cars and people and stuff like that. So yes, the first location, about, I would say, less than 100 yards from where I was camped, there was two men. They had a car and like a Volkswagen bus, like a van, and then two dogs. Not a lot of cars that went through there. I mean, there was trucks and stuff, but I saw a lot of Razors and Rangers and stuff like that going by the road that went next to my camp. So there was a lot of
activity. Not so much as people walking and stuff, but cars. Not so much cars, but like I said, SUVs, trucks, Rangers, Razors, stuff like that. The next one is my way out. Was I happy with the result, and was it what I expected? The way out kind of shocked me. Yes, I was happy with the result. No, it's not what I expected. And I'll get to the results of that at the end of this video. Now, the water at the first location versus the bottled water, the drinking water and spring water. Honestly, which one was better? They're both a wash as far as I'm concerned. The water that I had at the first location, I was running through a filter Sawyer system, and the Sawyer squeeze to be exact, and it was fine. I didn't have no issues with the water at all there, and the water here was fine too. So the water, I would say it's a wash. The dogs. What was the good, the bad about taking the dogs? The dogs wasn't something that I planned originally on bringing on this journey. The dogs was something that I kind of brought as a last minute decision to include them in this series. And it was a good thing overall, but there were times where it was a lot more work and a lot more attention had to go to the dogs instead of the video, like feeding them, watering them, making sure they're entertained. So it was definitely a lot of work bringing the dogs versus had I been alone. But yet there was a good trade-off there, because having the dogs meant I had some companionship. I had something to focus on, and they were funny at times, and they were fun. You know, they got to play, and seeing them happy ultimately made me real happy. The next one is sleeping on the ground on days 1 through 5. Well, I had 4 nights on the ground there, because I slept night 1, night 2, night 3, and night 4, and then night 5 I came here. There was no problems. The first night there I slept on the rocks, and I think the second night too, and then third and fourth I slept in that area where those trees and all that I shared, and I would have my head to the creek behind me, and I was laying under the trees, and it was a perfect area because I could look out here to my left, and I could see the road going by, and I could see my camp, and I could see everything in that area at any given time. So sleeping on the ground was no problem. Now the next one is the stove and the fuel, and using that piece of plywood for the table for the stove here. Yes, the stove was a huge benefit. It really spoils you, and it makes the cooking so much better. It really does. You can fine tune that flame. It's much different than cooking over a fire, because cooking over a fire, it takes a little more work to get, low temperature and high temperature on a fire. It's a lot more effort, a lot more time. You got to be a lot more patient, and you got to pay attention a lot closer to the food that you're cooking when you're over a fire. So having a stove with an endless supply of fuel was amazing. And I refer back to my 5-day challenge, where I had that little 1.1 liter Zebra pot. That was a challenge doing that over a fire, because not only was it a small pot, but trying to regulate temperature and stuff of the fire to cook my foods, it made that very difficult. Had I had a stove on that journey, it probably would have been a lot better, and the outcome in my weight loss might have been less. Who knows? Using the little piece of plywood for the table, that was absolutely fantastic. And the big question that you guys probably have is, how much fuel did you go through? So I burned 6 8-ounce MSR isopro fuel canisters over a 10-day period. Now you got to remember that on day 5 I didn't do hardly any cooking, so it was very light usage on day 5. My first fuel canister lasted until noon of day 2. My second fuel canister, I changed it out 3 p.m. on day 3. My third fuel canister was the morning of day 4. Fourth fuel canister was 5 p.m. on day 4. That was that day where I burned through 2 fuel canisters. But that stove was running all day long. Day 5 at noon, fuel canister number 5, noon on day 8. And the last fuel canister, number 6, was the morning of yesterday, day 9. And like I said this morning, it's still half full. Now, the pot, the 2-quart Cuisinart pot was fantastic. Perfect size, perfect for everything cooking. I just think that it was awesome. The trivet was using those stones so that I could cook the Cornish game hen on day 3, that Cornish hen, and then the muffins and all that. So having those rocks to lift the food up off of the bottom of the pot really helped tremendously. And then the big question was, is that 2-quart pot big enough? And my answer to that would be absolutely. But the base camp cook set, the 3-quart and the 4.5-quart or liter, those ones would be nice, but they're starting to get too heavy for the stove. So you'd have had to have stones or something to set those on to hold the weight and then have the stove. But those bigger ones would have been nice because I could have done my laundry a little more and stuff like that. So a bigger pot would have been nice, but the 2-quart pot is what I'm gonna go with. I really like the way that worked out. Now the plastic / tent / hammock. So the plastic, I never even touched it, didn't even use it. I used this tarp. I just as easily could have used the plastic, but I didn't think of it. The rain was coming, I wanted to get a tarp up, so I threw a tarp up. But the plastic, I didn't even use it. The tent was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The hammock was amazing. You know, it was such a good R&R day yesterday. The bedroll, bedding, sleeping pad, drop cloth, chamois, all that stuff. So the bedroll, I used the Everest Elite. It was absolutely, I never got cold or anything in the bedroll. Felt great. At the first location, all I was laying on was a chamois, and then I had that camouflage blanket over me. And then on one of the days, it was just the opposite. So as far as bedding here, the bedding here was perfect. Having those drop cloths down in the foot of the tent on the inside made for a very nice footing. It also stopped cold air from coming up into the tent from the bottom, from the ground. So it was a conduction barrier. My sleeping pad that I used, I could have went with something a little thicker. I used that little accordion style Thermarest. I forget what they call it. Easy Light or whatever they call it. It worked good, but I would have liked to have something a little thicker. It was very light. My chamois, yeah, I used that a lot. The GoPro, now the next category, we're talking about flashlights, headlamps, camera gear, solar panel, the Bluetti charging station, my laptop, and the GoPro. So all that technology, flashlights, I had the S2R Baton 2, worked fabulous. It was basically a nightlight. This brand new Warrior Mini from Olight was absolutely fabulous. I had the M2R Pro Warrior, I had the Seeker 2. I switched between headlamps. I had 2 of them. I had the Wowtac H01. That one worked great. And then I had the Olight Perrin Mini. It also worked great. Perrin Mini's definitely brighter. The GoPro that I'm filming with right now is a Hero 7 Black Edition. And when it's cold, it has like a delay. Like I'll push the power button and it'll still show the screen for a few seconds before it actually powers down. I don't know why it does that. My camera gear, as far as tripods and everything, they worked fine. The Bluetti power station for powering my laptop and charging batteries, that thing was a lifesaver. That thing is why I was able to stay charged this whole time. Not by itself, but that was a big part of it. But it worked really, really good. I got down to 1 bar and then it actually dropped to 0 bars and it was still working. I put it in there in the car on a power inverter and started charging it up. Got it back to 2 bars after about 3 hours of charging. My laptop out here worked good, but not excellent like it does at home. I don't know what the difference was there. Maybe it's not getting enough juice or something with that Blue Eddy. It did work. I was able to edit all of my flashlight videos that I shot, which was a total of 6 videos out here. That's what happened on day 7. 6 videos got shot, and then they got edited and rendered. And I was on the laptop literally all day on day 7 doing video editing. The solar panel that I brought, I didn't show it. I meant to, but it was the PWPAM solar panel. Worked fabulous. I used it a lot. A lot of my GoPro shots, I have a long USB 2.0 cable. It's like 10 feet long or 15 feet. And I'll set the solar panel in the sun, and I'll run that cable up to my GoPro and power the GoPro. Like right now, I'm sitting in the shade and the solar panel's right back there. So I don't have to worry about the battery dying. Now the next one is the cheapest paracord you could buy versus primitive cordage. I learned a big lesson on this one. On day 1 was a complete fail because I could not get my primitive fire to go. I wanted to start this, kick this thing off kind of primitively, and I failed. The cordage just kept breaking. It just kept breaking. My choice of materials that I was using for a set weren't optimal. There wasn't just, in that location, there just wasn't good wood to use for friction fire. So it just kept breaking my cordage. So I guess if you want to compare primitive cordage versus cheap paracord any given day of the week is going to be better than primitive cordage, in my opinion. Just like the cheap paracord behind me that's holding these tarps up, I would have rather used that over making cordage. So definitely. And it takes so much time to make primitive cordage. It's a lot of work. Now the knives, I didn't use them until I got to this location. I used all stone tools on the first location. Rocks. In fact, I still have the first flake that I made, which is now a trivet, but this was the flake. It's dull now. It has no edge on it anymore. I've used every edge that it had, and it's still here though. But the knives here, I used the SCHF 43 by Charade, and I used the Mora Companion with a carbon steel blade. The saws was a Baco Laplander and a Silky Big Boy 2000. I didn't have an axe on this trip, but I did use a cheap old Walmart hatchet. And the knife, a small knife, even like the Mora Kanzball or the Mora, whatever they call it, that little knife, any small knife, in my opinion, is going to be better than a stone tool. So you've got a steel blade, even if it's a short little 1.5 inch blade or something, that's still going to be better for cutting because it's steel versus stone. So definitely that's going to work out pretty good. Now, the next one is water filter. I use the Sawyer Squeeze and the Ceenoc 3-liter bag. They both worked fabulous. Sawyer Squeeze worked good. The Ceenoc was a good bag, gravity fed, and I put a lot of water through it at that first location and a little bit through it here. The water bottles, I used just as an old Nalgene bottle. It worked great. And then the Powerade bottle that I had from purchasing on as one of my food items, I used that all 10 days and it worked fine. Now, the next question's a good one. Was there enough food? Absolutely. You saw that I had half of my beans and half of my rice left, and a can of tuna and 2 packs of ramen and some blueberry mix. So yeah, I had plenty of food. I could have stretched it out even further than 10 days. Fudge, blueberry, cornbread, or the cake? Which one was my favorite? I would say it's a toss-up between the cornbread and the blueberry muffins. The fudge was kind of a flop. Didn't really work out too well. The rice, the oatmeal, the mac and cheese, the beans, ramen, tuna, spam, and the Cornish hens. Which one was the easiest to prepare? Well, obviously the ramen and the rice are easiest to prepare. The tuna, you don't have to do nothing. You just eat the tuna. The mac and cheese was easy. The spam was easy. Which was my most favorite of all those foods? Obviously the Cornish hen. That was epic. Turned out perfect. The only icing that I could have put on that cake was maybe rubbed it down and put some rub on it. That would have been cherry on top of the cake there. My least favorite food, probably the rice, honestly. Now, this next one says the power of the sun. I've realized some things about the sun. You know, obviously that sun is why I got fire on day 2. The sun is what's powering this GoPro right now. The power of the sun. It charges my batteries. It keeps me warm. It dries my clothes when I hang them out. So the sun was a big deal. Now the next one's kind of funny. Bathroom. How do you go to the bathroom? A lot of people ask that. Well, I go out at least 100 feet or something. In my case, I go across the street over here, this little road, and I make sure that I'm quite a ways away from camp. I dig a small hole with a stick, or I'll lift a stone out of the way. And that's what I did in the first location, is I lifted stone out of the way. You got to be careful doing that because centipedes, scorpions, snakes, things like that, spiders, they hide under stones. So when you're going to uproot a stone to go to the bathroom in a hole and then put the stone back on it, be careful that you're paying attention when you move that stone. Things run out, you know, scorpions and stuff like that. So, but over here, that's what I did over there. Over here, I just dug a hole, went to the bathroom. What did I use for toilet paper? These fern leaves actually work pretty good. Mullein leaves work pretty good. But honestly, what I've been using out here is just napkins that you get from a fast food joint. So whatever fast food that you're going to, put those napkins in the console of your vehicle, and then when you go somewhere, you feel the urge to go to the bathroom, you put those in your pocket, you go do your business, and you're good to go. Now, the next question was, how many times did you go to the bathroom on this 10-day journey? I went 3 times, and I feel a 4th one coming right now. So on day 4 was the first time, on day 6 was the second time, and then on day 7 was the 3rd time, and I'll go to the bathroom once again before I go. So it'll be a total of 4 bathroom breaks on this 10-day challenge. So this next one might get a little bit long-winded. I'm not sure. So it was, and I have a lot of things written down. Any weird experiences on this 10-day journey? Anything weird? Yes. 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 Everything about that first location was weird. The location was awesome during the day. The water was cool. Everything was cool. But over there, and I'm looking at my notes, I had like really weird dreams. It was a very eerie kind of atmosphere at night. I felt like, I can't even put it into words. I felt like there was a presence there or something. Maybe like some entities or spirits or something. It was just not normal. It seemed like that area had some energy. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not a medium, or I don't reach out to people that have been deceased or nothing like that. I don't have any crazy beliefs or anything, but I can tell you that the hair stood up on the back of my neck many times over there. I spent 4 nights on the ground over there and a total of 5 days. And all this stuff, I didn't start reflecting until I got here. I continued to think about there, and all this stuff kind of came to light. On one of the nights, it was really weird because I was sleeping under that tree canopy thing, and the dogs were both asleep. And I remember, you know, I tell you that I could see like my camp and then the road that went up the hill. I could see everything at my camp anytime during the night. And at one point, a skunk, it was the day that I cooked that Cornish game hen, day 3, I think that was. I wanted to save the carcass because I planned on being out there all 10 days. And at some point, I was planning to make a fish trap and try to catch some crawdads, and I wanted something to bait that trap with. So after I boiled up all the broth and stuff off of that carcass, I kept the bones, I put them in a Walmart bag, and I hung them up high in the tree. Well, on that night, that was like a dinner bell for the skunk. He went like 5 to 10 feet from my feet, went right by me. He knew we were there. Dogs never even woke up. But that wasn't eerie. That wasn't crazy. But that spot has like an aura about it, or like spirits or something. It's just really weird. There was a man that came through on a razor, and he stopped by the camp. Him and his wife, they were really nice people, and they were talking to me, and I was talking, and they lived in that little area. There's like a housing area. I think it's called Verde Village. I might be wrong about that, but they lived there. And when I left, you drive right by it when you come in and when you leave, and there's a gate right there that village, they have quick access to the Verde River. If you don't live in that village, you don't have a key to that gate, so you have to drive the long way out through that dirt road, and it's about 2 to 3 miles. And there's a lot of rocks, and it's not, I wouldn't take a car out there is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, they came in from that Verde Village, for the lack of knowing what it's actually called. They came in and they were saying hi to me, and I asked them about the neighbors with the dog, because that guy was like yelling at his dog all the time. And they told me that there was 2 men, like I said, a car and then like a Volkswagen bus or some kind of van, and the 2 dogs, and they had their camp set up. But the people that were on the razor told me that those people were full-time, that they were homeless people, 2 men, and they were real nice people, but they skipped out every 14 days to another location so they could stay legal, but they were homeless and they were out there living. That was a little weird. That guy was always yelling at his dog, Drew, Drew. You know, I'll never forget that dog's name. But that was weird, but that wasn't the big icing on the cake at that location. This is where it gets really creepy, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about this. So, the scene where I did the bath, and I got in the water, and I washed my clothes, and I took a bath, and then when I got out and I laid down on that rock, and I was talking about the sun and how good it felt and all that, that location, that exact location, okay, so just keep that in the back of your mind for a minute. I got up, I think it was day 4, like 11 or 12 o'clock. I decided to go back and get some more grapes off that grape tree. It was after I had taken that shot of me washing. It was after I took my bath out there. So I went down to go get the grapes, and something caught my attention, and I looked, and there was a woman laying there. A white woman with long brunette hair, very attractive, probably late 30s, early 40s, laying in the exact spot that I was laying in after I took my bath. And that was weird. But it gets weirder. She saw me before I saw her. So she had seen me coming. And when I noticed her and I looked over, she was looking at me smiling. And I was like, this is weird, man. Very weird. So kind of like, and I had like this bad feeling like this is weird. She was almost flirtatious the way she was looking at me and smiling. anytime that I would walk upon somebody, I would expect that person, if I walked up on somebody naked or if somebody walked up on me naked, I think a normal person's response would be to cover themselves and or turn away or something like that, right? If somebody saw me naked, I'm going to try to turn away or something. She didn't do nothing like that. She just laid there. I saw everything, and it was just so weird. The next thing that I noticed that was extremely weird was there was nothing next to her. There was no phone, no towel, no purse or bag. There was no shorts or a two-piece or a one-piece, no socks, no clothes, no shoes, nothing. Just a woman laying on a rock, fully naked, looking at me, smiling. And that was like, ugh. So it's kind of like when you stumble upon a snake, you see danger and you pause for a second and then you slowly back away. That's exactly what I did, because it was very eerie, very weird situation. Probably one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had in my life. The other thing that makes it so weird is because I couldn't stop thinking about that. I couldn't stop thinking about everything that I had just witnessed. The fact that she was there, the fact that she was almost flirtatious, the fact that she didn't try to cover or hide, the fact that she had nothing with her. All these things through the process of the next few days of thinking about was like, it just didn't add up. It didn't make sense. If you go back to the video of day 5, when I was trying to come back to my location, and there's a shot of me looking out the window as I'm driving on the road, and I'm looking down at my campsite. So what I'm saying is that road goes up a hill. The river's like this, the road goes up a hill, and then it hangs a right, and it separates from the Verde, and then the Verde makes a turn and comes back and meets up to the road like another mile down the road. The point that I'm making is there's a steep embankment off the road that's full of rocks, and there's cactus and there's yucca plants and all kinds of pricklies and pokies and stuff like that that are hard to get through. The point I'm making is for a person to be laying on that rock the way she was at the time and location that she was, she would have had to have went through my camp. And I never saw her. If a person would have tried to walk down that embankment through all of that stuff, you would definitely get your feet cut up. Because just from me walking around camp, my feet got cut up. That's just, I can't stop thinking about it. I would like to do some research on the history in that area and see if there's anything going on, because there's definitely a negative energy there. I can't pinpoint it, but it's definitely a negative energy. And gosh, that's so crazy talking about that. Now, things that I miss. I miss my family. I miss the music. I miss God. I just miss good food. Things I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for God. I'm thankful for the dogs coming with me. My YouTube channel. The sun was, something I'm very thankful for. And I was very thankful for seeing the leaves change color right in front of my eyes. That was amazing. That was so amazing. Now, I'm sure some of you are going to probably ask, if you had all those negative experiences and feelings and that aura and that evil presence or whatever, why didn't you just leave? Honestly, I didn't leave because it wasn't my plan to. My plan was to stay there. I wanted to stay there. I tried to go back. And at the time, I was just kind of brushing those things off. Didn't think too much of it. And it wasn't until I was not able to go back and I got here that I was able to reflect on those experiences and actually think of how things went down. And I honestly feel that God was working to get me out of there. My weigh-in weight was 198.8 pounds. You ready for my weigh-out weight? 185 on the dot. I lost a total of 13.8 pounds, and I'm getting ready to go to the restroom. 13.8 is what I lost over 10 days. Now, another thing to consider is I've got 3 SD cards. This one's going to be full soon. So I got 2 128 gigabyte cards, and this one's a 64 gigabyte. That's 320 gigabytes of 4K footage that I'm going to have to edit to get this video out to you guys. So I really thank you guys for coming with me on this journey. I hope you share this video, this whole series. It'll be on the playlist. So please take a look at that playlist and share it and watch it. And please give it traction, because I want to continue to do things like this, and I can't do it without you guys giving me that traction. So with all that being said, thanks again. I love you all. This 10-day solo survival experience has been epic. We'll see you next time. Bye for now. Love you all. Thank you. God bless.